Hey friends, this is Waylon of Elephant Journal, and I am here to talk with one of my favorite guests, Ellie, founder of the Gentle Barn. We've talked once before, and if you love animals, this is for you. If you are stressed out, if you're having a hard time, if you know someone who is, particularly children, this is for you. This is cow hug therapy, and it's adorable. It's as adorable as it sounds. Yeah, we all need a cow hug. I've had a cow hug, which is as adorable and all-encompassing as it sounds. Cows are big. I don't remember how much they weigh, but it's like 1 ton. Hey, you.
Hello. I'm so excited to be on this with you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love your glasses.
Thank you. That's the only way I can see you.
Yeah, I'm more and more. I always, for the first time, I'm 49. For the first time, I always have glasses near me now.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, thank you. I kind of like them. It's like a little more style. Except I hate the smudges on glasses. But we have more important and adorable things to talk about than middle age. So, cow hug therapy. I feel like it speaks for itself. But what is this book? How did you fill a whole book about cow hug therapy?
Well, I have been in the Gentle Barn barnyard for 25 years, and I've seen our cows and our other animals do absolutely remarkable things that the world doesn't get to look at.
Right.
I've seen them come together in a circle when someone is born. I've seen them come together in the same circle when someone passes away. I have seen them fall in love. I've seen them raise each other's babies and discipline the teenagers. I have seen them gracefully go through grief and show me how to do it. I've seen them come up against the evil on this planet, but surrender to it and learn life lessons from it. I have seen them practice self-care, daily meditation, gratitude, surrender. All the best parts of being human we can learn from animals. So yes, I could have filled 5 books from it.
Oh, I love that. What you just said could be like one of those inspiring, beautiful community posters, you know, with a nice illustration of a cow hug.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've only had 1 cow hug in my life. How many do you think you've had?
Oh, so many, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, tell us about this magical place that you're talking about, who may not know what you're doing with the Gentle Barn.
Okay, the Gentle Barn is a 25-year-old national organization located in Los Angeles, California, Nashville, Tennessee, and St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you. Across the 3 locations, we currently have 200 animals, but over the last 25 years, we've rescued thousands. We specifically take in animals that have nowhere else to go, animals that are too old, too sick, too injured, too scared to be adoptable anywhere else. We bring them in. We rehabilitate them with veterinary care, acupuncture, chiropractic, massage therapy, music therapy, energetic healing, animal communication, lots and lots of love. And once they're healed and healthy, if we can find a home of their own, we do. And if not, because they need ongoing care for the rest of their lives, we give them sanctuary with us. And we host school field trips, private tours, gentle birthday parties. But my favorite is when we host cow hug therapy sessions. We're hurting humans of any kind. They could be suffering from depression, anxiety, loneliness, or just simply need a really good hug. People can come out to the Gentle Barn, spend a solid hour in the barnyard with our amazing cows, rest their faces on them, close their eyes, feel grounded and centered, slow down their heartbeat to match the cows, slow down their breathing to match the cows, clear their mind of worry, be immersed in present time. And it is a healing unlike no other. And there's not even enough words to describe what it is. People just have to come and experience it.
How do you, the obvious thing that comes to my mind is that we humans are being so awful to cows.
Yeah.
Who are such a gentle. I used to live in Vermont, and I'm in Colorado, where there's a huge beef industry, and then it's so, where we're being so cruel as a species, they're so ready at any moment to give love back. And for those who don't know, maybe you could talk a little bit about, I've read that cows care deeply about their families, about their children. They have best friends. I think a lot of people think of cows as burgers and cows as stupid. For those who may not know, what is it like to be around cows and their friends and their families?
You're absolutely right. We have gotten lost as a society with our own humanity and kindness and connection with the planet and other creatures. And we've reduced cows to an unnatural environment as well. The most treasured value of a cow is their family. They groom each other every single day after breakfast. They meditate together. They raise each other's babies. They protect one another. They are deeply in love with one another and concerned for each other's welfare. We have torn these families apart, taken babies away from moms, taking family away from each other. And we've reduced them to these feedlots where they are in survival mode. They are in shock. They are in grief. Right. They are terrified, and they absolutely 100% know what's going to happen to them next. So you can't possibly see their personalities. It's impossible. They're standing there in shock, waiting for the next horrible thing to happen.
Yeah, they're
but in
so curious. They're so, like, I remember in Vermont where they're out in fields more, you know, obviously the end of their lives again would be that grief and that fear and that pain. But in the beginning, you know, they're in the fields and, you know, you'd walk by even without a dog or whatever, and they would be so curious. They would all come over and they'd, you know, they were such a great little community. There's just no way if you're looking and feeling and open that you can kind of make them into commodities. They just are, they're so feeling.
I agree. And that's why I wrote my book, Cow Hug Therapy, how the animals at the Gentle Barn taught me about life, death, and everything in between, because they are such a beautiful tribe and family. They have so much to teach us. They are so extraordinary in sanctuary once they feel safe. And I want the world to know who they really are. To me, cows are everything that we should be and that we will be once we awaken to love. They are a matriarchal society that lead with collaboration, connection, and communication. They are vegan, so they harm no one. They face their troubles head on and problem solve. Their family, like I said before, is their most treasured value and ethic. They meditate every single day, and they are 100% inclusive. They don't reject anyone. They welcome everyone.
So you mean if there's a sick cow or an elderly cow, they're still inclusive of that cow?
Yes. And also, we've got many, many different species of animals at the Gentle Barn. And the other species besides cows, when we get a new member, the introduction is a very lengthy process because their instinct is to ostracize and harm the newcomer. So we have to have them meet through a fence, you know, with a fence in between, and it takes a really long time for them to welcome. But cows, I can get a brand new cow right now and put them in any one of our pastures, and cows will immediately be like, hey, come on in.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned it. Do you have your book with you right now, by the way?
Oh my God, I don't.
Okay.
That would have been a good thing.
For anyone who's only tuning in for a second, because we're on this speedy, you know, crazy social media platform, Cow Hug Therapy is your new book. And it's a healing read. And I think, you know, should start this movement of everyone, you know, so you tell the story like you published on Elephant, an excerpt from the book about a young girl who was having a hard time. Do you want to walk us through that? Like, what are the cow hug therapy is for everyone, but who is it really helpful for who needs it the most?
Well, I will say that when I'm having a bad day for any reason, I always go down to the cows and they make everything better. We've had parents who's lost children. We've had children that's lost parents or grandparents. Yeah. We've had people that have suffered unimaginable trauma and horror in their lives. We've had people that suffer with depression and anxiety, suicidal ideation. We've had people that have terminal illnesses, and for end-of-life bucket lists, they come to Hug a Cow because they're scared. We've had people come for cow hug therapies that are about to go into surgery, and they just need some confidence and some courage. We've had people that feel isolated and lonely because of the pandemic. I mean, we're all stressed out.
And children, you know, specifically can really benefit from it if they're having a hard time. Right.
I think cow hug therapy is literally for every
Yeah.
one of us
Yeah.
to connect to animals, to connect to ourselves, and to connect to that healing. The reason why I think cow hug therapy is so valuable is because when we're resting against these 3,000-pound gentle giants, we feel like infants with a mom that's hugging us and protecting us. It's like a giant mom hug that brings us back to that feeling of being an infant. And when we're vulnerable and humble and loved like that, that's where healing
Yeah.
starts.
Yeah, you may know it. There's a rescue out here, Love and Arms, and I've been there a bunch of times. I live in Boulder, and they have cows, and there's this huge cow. He's a giant. I mean, they get huge, and he loves more than anything. He's like my puppy over here. He's just a lovable, cuddly puppy dog, and he'll lay down, and you can just get a hug from him, and he loves it. It's so strange and surprising, and then just so natural once you do it. It's so great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really beautiful.
Um, so not to, ruin the good vibes, but we can create more good vibes by being kind to cows. So I think one of the things I struggle with is I'm vegan and I share like videos on Instagram of what happens with dairy, where you're taking away their little child and the mamas are heartbroken, will chase, if they can, they'll chase their baby who's been taken away for miles to the point of exhaustion. I always think every single time I share one of those videos that everyone watching it will be like, oh my God, this is horrible. I don't want to do this. They clearly care about each other. Being vegetarian isn't enough. I'm going vegan, not because I want to be some strident activist, and I respect activists, obviously doing great work, but, because I love, out of love and out of solidarity with mamas and with these babies who, veal is literally baby cows. I know you know all this, but how do you, doing the work you do, I'm just always mystified at why, going vegan isn't sort of more contagious. And a lot of people will bring up arguments like it's privilege, blah, 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 but it can be cheaper, it can be healthier. There's huge societies all over the world traditionally that were pretty much vegan. So it's not out of reach. Is cow hug therapy kind of your approach to communicating that love and that change?
Yes, absolutely. Cow hug therapy and the Gentle Barn in general, allowing people to come in on Sundays or during the week to hug the cows, cuddle the turkeys, give the pigs tummy rubs, hold the chickens, and really address that cognitive
Yeah,
dissonance. Listen, unfortunately, most of us are not raised with cows and other farm animals.
yeah,
We're raised in the city with our fast-paced, high-tech world. We are so far removed from nature and these animals that we just go to the grocery store and we're programmed to buy these packages
sure,
and not think about what they really are.
totally.
And the main reason why the Gentle Barn exists is to allow people to come and meet these
Mm-hmm.
animals, look them in the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
hear their stories of resilience, and have this awakening like, wow, I need to be part of the solution.
So you're
When
kind of taking it outside of the, everyone loves to argue endlessly about everything philosophically, and you kind of get rid of all that and you just have connection happen.
Yeah, we've closed our hearts to animals that we can't see or know. And
Yeah.
the Gentle Barn is here to open those hearts and to create those connections so that people can make more gentle choices to protect these animals that are relying on us.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. And do you feel like that's an effective, like people don't just receive love and healing from the species that we're harming actively, but they kind of change their hearts open and they're like, oh, I want to give back some love and healing.
When people come to the Gentle Barn and cuddle a turkey for the first time, they literally burst into tears, having no idea that these animals are so affectionate. When they hug the cows, they also burst into tears because they have no idea how generous and thoughtful and affectionate these animals are. And it's very rare when someone leaves the Gentle Barn and doesn't say, well, I'm vegan now. So I think it does something, whether it changes them on the spot or it plants a seed that is going to germinate. Their hearts have to open when they're here.
Right. Yeah. It's like falling in love. It's like not a choice.
Yeah.
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 So is there anything else you'd love to share about your book that I'm not asking?
I'm so excited about this new book.
Yeah.
It's my second book. My first book is called My Gentle Barn, and it's all the whys of, my childhood and how I started the Gentle Barn. But this is my second book, and I'm really excited about this book because this book is about the animals. Each chapter is about a new animal and their stories and their resilience and how they navigated their life and all the lessons that they teach us and all the ways that they treated and healed humans. The pages of this book are filled with these remarkable stories of humans hurting, coming to the stories and remarkability of these animals and how they healed each other. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's not something that people are going to experience unless they come to the Gentle Barn or read the books.
Right.
So, kind of step into a new world,
Right.
see a rainbow for the first time, open your heart to these creatures in a different way. It's a magical
I,
experience, and it will
I love
leave
that.
you uplifted and inspired and wanting to connect deeper.
Yeah, we published an excerpt from your book, and it was like that. It was so obvious too. It felt like, oh, this child was having a hard time in your story, in the chapter, and yeah, they're able. They say, like with dogs. My dog is over here napping. Um, offices are 30% more productive when they're dog friendly. Like everyone's heart's just open, and this child is uncomfortable around people, but around cows and these animals the child could completely blossom and relax for once, and it's so hard being young sometimes. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Um, Especially those that went through the pandemic as a
yeah,
child and they were completely robbed of 3 years of social life.
right.
And we work significantly with those with
Mm,
autism, on the spectrum, even early onset Alzheimer's, because the animals open up these people in
right.
ways that other therapies just cannot do. It's like the key.
Mm, you're on it. I don't know how you do it all. Because you're also running the Gentle Barn, which, is not just one barn. It's, what is it? You have three sanctuaries?
3 sanctuaries, and we're trying to expand to New York next, but I
Yeah,
don't do it alone. I do it
yeah,
with my husband and co-founder of the Gentle Barn and a huge team of the
yeah,
most remarkable staff and volunteers,
yeah.
and they help us do this.
Yeah, I mean, I have a wonderful crew at Elephant Journal, but there's still a responsibility that of holding it together, and I really admire you being able to do that and get a book out. And I bet the cows are helping you write it, because you it's wonderful that you in your work can find ways to enjoy relaxing and therapy and opening up through your work. I think that's magic.
Thank you. And you know what? Based on what you just said, one of the favorite things about my book is that each chapter has a quote from the animal written in that chapter. And so I actually connected to each animal and said, what would you like your quote to be? And so the quotes are not from, miscellaneous people. The quotes are actually from the animals. I think that's so
No,
cool.
I love that. Yeah, I meant to ask, you mentioned a couple times cows meditating. What do you mean by that?
They meditate. They literally they have the same routine every single day, whether it's the cows in Los Angeles, St. Louis, or Nashville, whether they're male or female, whether they're young or old. They all have the same routine. They wake up for breakfast, they form a grooming circle, and they engage with each other and show their affections and make sure everybody's good. And then they all, around 11-ish a.m., they all lay down. They start chewing their cud. They either close their eyes or stare blankly ahead, and they're meditating. They
Wow.
spend time in the stillness and the quiet,
Right.
connecting to their higher self and connecting to each other. And
That's
they have a lot
beautiful.
to teach us because we are the only species that doesn't do that. And we need to spend time in that stillness. We need to.
That's funny. I just led a brief meditation this morning from the Buddhist tradition, and it's literally that, is at any moment, you don't need any technique. At any moment in your day, especially if it's a hectic moment, you just look. Ideally at something, nature, but it can be a wall, it can be anything. You just look, and you look for more than 5 seconds. And especially if it's nature, you start seeing it for the first time. You start seeing your world, and your brain, your heart, everything just kind of melts and relaxes, and you synchronize with the present moment, which is kind of what those cows are doing. You have to rest and take a pause and do nothing. There's some French quote like, all of humankind's problems are rooted in their inability to do nothing for more than a few minutes. And we can do that. We can return to that kind of spaciousness. Don't have to do it all the time, but it gives all of our life, it waters all of our life.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Beautifully said. You know, if you think about it in practical terms, our life is spent listening to other people, right? It's spent listening to the television, listening to the phone, listening to other people talk, listening to our teachers, listening to other people. We are bombarded with information
all the
but
time.
We need, right?
And we bombard ourselves. Like, we're participating in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, learn from the cows and other animals at all animals everywhere, to sit down, to be still, to be quiet, to stop the noise, and to be able to tune into ourselves. That's where our intuition is. That's where our instincts are. That's where we remember who we are. And when we're not doing that, we kind of lose ourselves.
Wonderful, Ellie. Well, thank you again. Everyone watching, go get this book, Cow Hug Therapy by Ellie. Make sure you're following The Gentle Barn. Elephant Journal, we host all kinds of wonderful vegan folks who are inspiring. Jean Bauer, who I'm sure you know, and yourself, and many other wonderful folks. And I just thank you so much for your spirit and your service to our world and to our animal friends.
Well, you as well. You're really sharing your heart with the world. So it was an honor to be here. Thank you for having
Ellie,
me.
thank you. Yeah, in that spirit, independent media is more and more rare. It's all been co-opted and bought and crushed by Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, etc. So if folks invest in mindful, caring community, whether it's visiting the Gentle Barns or getting Elephant Journal's newsletter, they only can continue to flourish and thrive and serve if we participate. So thank you, Ellie.
Thank you too.
All right.
Bye.
Cow Hug Therapy. Thank you.
Bye.